Noon. What's going on, YouTube? Chooch here. Got to talk about something that just came across text message I got, along with the statement that I got from NALC President Hopeful Mike Cariff, who has been very communicative with the people. He's touched base with me. I've done some sessions sitting with him and JH, and JH also did a session with potential President James Henry. So what just came across my messaging and was said on Corey Walton's From A to Arbitration podcast, somebody who we all know and love, and puts out a very definitive message that we won't stand for management harassing us. We won't stand for this lousy contract. We're going to get in. We're going to fight. Mike, James, and Corey were seemingly all together up until the point where they separated and the CLC was formed, and there's stories that conflict of Mike saying that he was on board to having James run for the president, but then Mike stepped away. And since then we've heard several stories from hearsay, and now we have something direct from Corey Walton, said on his most recent podcast, A to Arbitration, that Mike is in fact saying a racist statement against James Henry, stating that James Henry cannot seemingly win the NALC presidency because he is a black man. First things first, I hate that this even is transpiring, that this is, whether there's any validity to it whatsoever, which I'm praying and more or less am putting my bottom dollar on the idea that this did not happen. But then again, I don't have psychic abilities. I don't have a crystal ball. All I can say is that the character that Mike has displayed so far, I'm not even saying a character, the man that speaks before me, that I've talked to, that I've communicated with, that's joined us on live feeds and Q&As, seems to be a very decent person, a very well-spoken person, guy that knows life on the street, guy that also knows life in the business sense. And again, I'm still slowly figuring out who's who and what's what. There's still more to be learned about James Henry. There's still more to be learned about what is going to be presented to the future letter carriers, the current letter carriers. And all we see is and hear is of a struggle financially, at the workplace, harassment beyond recognition, constant badgering by management. We obviously have a three table system now, which is ridiculous, and to climb the ladder takes so many years. They shaved a little bit off. To say anything more about Renfro is to say that, I want to make it very clear, I do not want Renfro and Barner to have anything to do with the next presidency. You guys burned yourselves out a long time ago, and this continuous appearance you make on Instagram are like the worst Hail Mary I've ever seen. And it's like either you're that tone deaf or you have that much money to just throw around and try and buy your way back into this, as to where Mike has to build up a number to get to his presidency along with James. Obviously, I keep hearing that like there's no plan, like Mike has no plan. That was what Corey was saying, like there's no slate. So I understand that the CLC has put together a slate. I understand that I've seen the CLC have people seemingly hold paper in front of their hand and read very, very badly into the camera whatever message the CLC is telling them to read. If you got something to say on this camera, on this platform, you better be ready to say it without a script in front of you. Okay, you better make it sound genuine. All right, I don't like I definitely say you boys better rehearse it a little more, practice a little bit more, because I laugh at what I've seen so far for what CLC has put out with certain people. Not everybody, but certain people. It seems a little forced. It seems a little like, hey, you do this, we'll do this for you. And, there's no guaranteed on anything. There's no guarantee on anybody, whoever wins, that they're going to make some kind of like miracle new contract for us. So, but we're sticking to. I'm going to stick on point here to say what's going on with this possible racist comment. Now, just coming from my, South Philly street standard of conduct, to say that I've seen some shit in my time. I've seen racism. I've been held up at gunpoint. I've had a gun pointed at my head in broad daylight and been robbed by a African American person. I was very upset about that. That happened during my school years, in my sophomore year, and I could have continuously become more eaten up, and had that eat away at me and think everyone's just the same, and everybody's just out to get me because I'm a different color. And like I said, I never lived that way. I've worked and thrived with people of different cultures beside me, and again, some families just come from a way that says stay with your own, stay away from everybody. I have multiracial cousins. I have mixed racial marriages, black, white, and I have a huge family. I said, yeah, we all kind of sound and look like we're all a bunch of South Philly Italians, but we have diversified over the years, and everybody's great. I love my family, despite whatever thoughts people have in the current moment of politics, whatever choices are made. I love my family, and I'll always say that. I hate that communication lines are broken down because of situations like this. This shouldn't be happening right now. So I ask Corey Walton, and I demand Corey Walton to produce that footage of Mike Cariff, saying that James Henry couldn't win the presidency because he was a black man. Other than that, that's just a hearsay thing. That could be a method of spin to try and obviously degrade somebody and hurt their chances of winning. Corey, you are a bastion of power, and obviously you've shown yourself to be a huge force in this thing. I am just an up and comer in this whole game, but I like to believe that when people hear me talk and see what I say, that it mirrors the ideals of I'm not going to let people walk all over me at work. I'm going to follow procedures. I'm going to conduct myself professionally, and I'm always going to be better than those people in management who are just there to bust chops, torture, speed you up, steal time, all that. So, and I'm trying to do my part more than I ever have in my 20 years of carrying by going to my meetings, by seemingly, taking a spot. I'm a trustee in my union now, and I look forward to maybe moving up. But one thing that I never, one thing that I never thought that I would be doing is anything like this, is staring into this camera and trying to reach as many people as I can to say, listen, I know this place, and I love this place, and I care about this place, and I hate that there is what I believe and I know to be a double standard in the post office about how people are treated from management, sometimes about how the same craft treats each other. But for the most part, it's always about management being, very, very different depending upon person A or person B. If person A is outspoken and knows the rules and takes their time doing their job and takes their lunches and breaks and does everything they're supposed to do, again, I'm not saying I'm the great carrier that all should learn from. I'm just saying that, I really take honor in doing the job. I understand it's hard for people to make that statement in this day and age with this current pay system. If you came in and you did CCA years, that's a whole different mindset of where you're at. But nonetheless, this is a job that's very hard to lose. So, and I never in a million years would ever imagine having to lose my job. And it's not because I have a union to protect me. It's because I do my shit right, and I always will. And I will always be that guy who cares the most. The first one in the room, the last one out the door, whatever it may be. I said, I am there to work honestly and diligently. And I expect that from everybody. So what just transpired and this information I got, and Mike released a statement, and I want to post it on my page, on my community page, to say that, he, vehemently denied saying anything like that. Quoted Martin Luther King. I'm not going to read direct from it. I'll let everybody get a chance to see it. But to say that Mike vehemently denied saying anything like that, and he did not say any names about who said it about him, just like the way that the person who claimed that he said what he said, said he didn't say. Put it this way, here, let's get it all out. Corey said this about Mike. Mike wrote his statement about what Corey said about him. Okay, we don't, it's however this is being tossed around. It's clear who everybody's talking about. So to not even state the name to me is a little it's a little hinky, as they say. So Mike, I certainly hope that this doesn't end up hurting you in your campaign. I'm here to put a message out to say that until any form of actual proof, whether it be on a script, whether it be on some sort of video feed, and not just some hearsay, propaganda, politically induced for scoring extra points and hurting the other person while, trying to garner more votes. I will stand in support of Mike, and I look for Corey to be the guy that we believe him to be, upfront, honest. And, proof is proof in this world, brother. You can't just put that out there and then not have something to physically attach to it. Hearsay is a horrible thing that, essentially you can't really say is like a libel suit just by somebody saying something. There usually needs to be the burden of proof these days. So while Mike wasn't named, on the video, you're clearly talking about him, and it's just surprising. It's surprising to say that there was whatever incident went down a little while ago where there was a possible alcohol and toast involved. And again, I know cameras aren't running 24/7 in these things, but maybe in some situations it would be good if somebody did have a camera to say, well, maybe we the people want to know what's going on here. You're obviously doing hours and hours of audio feeds about your stories, your adventures with the post office, and you've been doing it a long time. 20-year carrier here. And like I said, I'm becoming more involved, and it ain't about scoring points on or views on YouTube. I like that this is a way to communicate. I like that I could shout, that I could say something back to management who doesn't listen to a word we say, and maybe it reaches past their desks to the upper management to say, if you really, really don't give that much of a shit about your workers, and this is the model you want to go with, well, then I feel sorry for you, and I hope you lose sleep at night, and it's a damn shame because there are some good workers in here. And, the inception of certain things over the last decade, the Table 2, the reduced COLAs for people that aren't at top step, those are all things conjured up and put together by past NALC presidencies and current president, Renfro, Barner. President Rolando, he kind of half and half with him, but he obviously shows his full support for Renfro, as far as I know up to this point. So unfortunately, that more or less drains him of any thumbs up. So that's what I want to. That's what I want to kind of hear. I want some sort of proof. You can't just go on and say something like that, Corey. So, ball's in your court. I ask. Simple thing. I hope you can produce something and you can put it out there. Or you can talk to JH. You can talk to me. I can make myself readily available to have a discussion. But like I said, I'm just working my way up little by little here with the support of JH, with the support of guys like Mailman Nick. And like I said, the interests for me are that our job and our career get better, not gaining YouTube viewers and likes. I do like the idea that people are commenting back and listening and showing very positive feedback, because I like people to believe and know that I'm speaking from as real as I can. If you can hear, what comes out of me when I turn this camera on, is to say, I care so much. Like, I care more by accident than people do on purpose when it comes to this place. This is not a phone it in, half-assed thing for me. This is my career. This is my livelihood. It has provided me with many great things. I love doing the job. I love the town I work in. I can't stand postal management and the way they have to treat us. I understand that, like, that's the current model and they have to do that, but it's nonsensical to say that after 20 years of dedicating, time, heart, energy, and sweat, that you still seem to have a target painted on you. It's old and it's dumb, and I want that to be what's focused on to make it go away, and not some, possible or conjured up thought of one possible union president, saying something terribly, horribly bigoted and racist without any proof whatsoever. So that's what I wanted to put out there, and that's what I want to get a comment back on or some form of response. I'll gladly leave information for an email, for a phone call. I have Zoom capabilities, so I would gladly welcome any one of those people mentioned on my channel. And obviously, JH is always kind of dynamic duo with me, along with mailman Nick. We just did something the other day, and we want to start talking more. Real carrier talk by real carriers out there on the streets every day doing the actual job. Something that I believe Corey does, still, like he's, but eventually he's going to be pulled away from the street to do, if he's the winner of the vice president spot, as to where, I know Mike still hits the street once, I guess, a week out of the year, just to get back and see things. I understand that these positions take you out of the work position of actually doing carrier work. Part of me like kind of resents that in a way, to say, like, if you aren't there on the ground floors seeing what it's like right now compared to what it was like when you guys were coming up and I was coming up, it was there was harassments, but it's a whole different world right now. It's a whole new level of craziness. And I can't say that we are bringing in people that are fully dedicated to the craft, because the numbers don't look as good, and you don't even have a career spot when you first start as a CCA, and we don't do any drug testing or civil service testing. So where's that going? When are we going to? That's what we should be talking about, is improving the starting point for a career carrier and getting rid of that nonsense. So we'll leave it at that. I appreciate if everybody listening to the end of this video, if you stayed on, and I look forward to saying more and hearing more. So thanks, everybody. Take it easy.